Good Saturday morning, everyone. Today on Perspectives, we hear the incredible story of the Poarch Band of Creek Indians. Alabama's only federally recognized tribe, the gaming business has lifted their tribal community into incredible heights of success. The Wind Creek Casino in Atmore is just one of 6 hotel and casino resorts that the tribe owns. 4 are here in the U.S. and 2 are located in the Caribbean. Their gaming success propelled now the tribe into owning and operating more than 20 diverse business enterprises that are making a major economic impact in Alabama. From hospitality to aerospace, even an amusement and indoor water park, OWA in Foley. Joining us today on Perspectives, our guest is the Vice Chairman of the Poarch Band of Creek Indians Tribal Council, Robbie McGee. He's currently serving his 5th term. After a quick break this morning, Robbie McGee will share an incredible story of business success right after this. Our guest today, Robbie McGee, and we're talking about the Poarch Band of Creek Indians and some of the accomplishments and business enterprises, things that have developed over the last 30-some years. I met you back in the 90s and had a chance to work with you and some things that we did through Fox 10 and television at that time. And the story, I think, is just an incredible, amazing, and just phenomenal, the things that have happened since we had that initial meeting back in the 90s. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as talk about Robbie McGee, too, because you've had an interesting journey and career since we first met in the 90s. And let's start from there. Give me an idea of how you saw this whole thing develop, because you were there at the, I would say, the beginning of what it has turned into, but there were some business things going on at that time too, back in the 90s. I think some media enterprises as well at one time. You all were involved in media operations and ownership too, weren't you? I
think one of those things about back then, and I do want to point out that I may have been there, but it was not me.
Right.
It was one of those things at that time, just young and such. But I think that we all, everybody serving the council or everybody within the community always had a vision to, what the future would look like.
Right.
I think that a lot of that in the early you got to see the tribe when it was just, building and developing and providing services and things like that. At that time, probably not the economic growth that you see today.
Right.
I think that we did venture into some, various little economic opportunities. Some, we probably could have did a little bit more due diligence on. And I think that's one of the things that we've learned, since then. To right. Getting into this area of business, does it work for the tribe? Does it work for what we're trying to do? And is it sustainable for the future?
That makes sense. And when you think about those days that you were saying, you were looking at that particular time, the welfare of the community.
Exactly.
And making sure that things were equitable, and as you were building the infrastructure, so to speak.
Yeah, and providing jobs, where we could, because there was a lot of unemployment back then and such, and so we're thankful that those things have changed.
Right, exactly. Well, give me an idea, when and what was that first catalyst that lifted the business opportunity, employment opportunity, to see how this whole thing could be successful in a way that, say, beyond imagination today when you think about it possibly. But was it the gaming industry, or what before that got everything going?
I have to say it was the gaming. In 1998, a federal law was passed regarding the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act that allowed tribes the opportunity to, we understand that this is an economic engine. That there was tribes in California and such that were doing this, and it says this is working.
Right.
This is something that is providing the jobs, is providing the general benefits of, that needed to be provided to the people. And so the federal government decided to pass that law. United States Congress did pass that law in 1988 to provide a federal oversight and regulatory body to pretty much to say, if make sure they're doing it correctly, make sure they're doing it within the boundaries of the law. And then they required us that within that law that any funds that you get off of gaming, since we can't tax, so any funds that come off of gaming go back into the government. And so that's written into law. So they have to be funded for education services, health care, community development, fire protections, social services and such. And so that's what we were able to do. That was the, when we built the bingo palace. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
It was one of those things that that's when, we could see things on the horizon.
Right.
And we can say, okay, this is going to work. Of course, we were hesitant for a while, especially living in, such a, rural, place.
I was going to ask you how that location worked into the picture.
I think the location helped us benefit from that was being on Interstate 65.
Right.
And having that corridor traffic. But we did many, many different economic impact studies, traffic studies, and things like that. We realized it was time to reach out and hire some or contract with some professionals within that area to make sure that we have a of understanding of what the market is, what it could bring, the costs associated with it, and such. And so, I think we've. We did a good job.
Right.
It was one of those things it was like built on faith and saying, okay, I think that, all of us who agreed that we can do this, we can manage it, and, let's just go ahead and break ground.
How and what kind of role did the tribes in California play with giving you advice, direction, a sounding board?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really, and not because I don't think it was because of we didn't ask.
Right,
it's one of those things we just never probably asked. I think it's one of the you had a lot of other you had various management companies in place. You had Harris. You had a lot of these MGMs and things like that were working with the tribes to say, okay, we'll manage your facility with a percentage. At one time, we were negotiating with Harris early on, but we decided that we have individuals on staff here, and we feel that we can hire other qualified individuals to let's work together and not worry about a management fee. Let's bring in our own management, and that's what our model has been since then.
So you built your own team?
We built our own team.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so when you look at that beginning period, how difficult was it to pull all these things in and come with that game plan of where you finally launched it? Because you were talking about how the discussions took place for a little while and a little hesitancy, but then something got you on track.
I think we were at that time. You had we had the PCI Gaming Board. We had Creek Indian Enterprises Board Authority, which we still do, but it was just trying to figure out who takes control and who takes the lead to make this happen. And you were dealing with different personalities. You were we had great leadership for many years. And then you have newcomers and such, like say myself. And so it's all about it's like we're always going to have different points of views. We can be resistant to change sometimes. I think it just took a lot of patience, working together, listening to each other, listening to the concerns. Because like I said, this was something that was pretty. We had a community of people that very faith-based and and such, and it was like. We don't know if we can support this and such.
Yeah.
And so it helped us to say, though, but this is something that we have to do. The federal government is allowing us to do it. We feel that this is what's going to bring us out of poverty.
Right.
We feel this is what's going to provide educational scholarships, health care and such. And even the federal government recognized that. They knew that they were not doing their part.
Right.
In accordance with the treaties and such and agreements that were put in place
over the years
that they said, okay, you know what, we're going to allow tribes to do this because it offsets.
Right.
And none of it's being paid, by the federal government.
Yeah. So that would have been, let's say, '98 when the that driving
force. When the law was passed, it was 1988.
88 for that,
of course.
right.
Then but over the time and things like that, it was the late '90s and the early 2000s. Okay. Yes, sir.
And in that period, when did you all see that this is going to be a catalyst for us to create the other enterprises that you have today?
So what we tried to do back then too was always create an investment fund, a capital reserve fund, that we knew that we had to try to do our best to diversify. We wanted to make sure that we have this sustainable revenue coming in, that, let's skip forward, that we have built, healthcare facilities on, that we've built, 2 fire departments on, our court system and the educational scholarships. And we wanted to make sure that this has to be sustainable. And never knowing about the state of Alabama, and early on, of course,
Sure.
And such that, we wanted to make sure the tribe and the council said we have to diversify. We have to make sure that we can create a fund or revenue that's coming in that's equal, if possible, not of other businesses and other gaming industries outside of the state, to make, to protect what we've built, and always to know that, we'd have, when needed, that nest egg or that reserve fund or something like that for if something occurred.
So we're talking early 2000s, and today when you talk about your gaming industry and enterprise, we're talking about places in the States and some abroad now, even in the Caribbean, so to speak, I guess Curacao and Aruba. And then just recently, the new bidding on a license for the Chicago area. How difficult was it to grow like that? Is that something that's simple in the gaming industry, or this is quite a feat?
I don't think anything's simple.
Okay.
I think what we always had to, like I said, you're dealing with, we had a game, the Wind Creek Hospitality and the PCI Gaming Board would make a decision, and then that decision has to come to the council. And then the tribal council are the ones who are like, okay, how much is this?
Right.
What is the return on the investment? Will it provide an opportunity for local communities? Will it provide jobs and such? Going into any gaming market, though, is you have to make sure that you do the studies.
Right.
That you have to make sure that you've taken any approach you can to figure out, okay, is this going to work or not?
I guess Atlantic City is always an example of concern, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. But the other thing that's really difficult that people don't understand is just from a regulatory body. Okay, so when you have commercial entities, so they have to become licensed by the state that they're in. And so when we were going through, say, we were working with the tribe in Nevada, doing a partnership, helping them and such. Well, we had to become licensed. And that was our first, like, okay, what does this mean and such? Because, within the state of Alabama, there is no regulatory board in place. However, in other states that offer Class 3 gaming, such as, say, like Nevada, you have to go through this procedure. And we're talking about every individual. And so usually you have say a corporation maybe, or an individual owner that owns those facilities. Well, they'll have to become licensed. Well, we had to have all 9 of our council members become licensed.
Okay.
The complete management teams are that Poarch Creek Indian Authority Board and others. And so we're talking, we had to go back 10 years of any type of our checking accounts, home ownerships, cars, and submit all this to the licensing board.
And how many people were we talking about here who had to?
Oh gosh, probably plus of 20, 20 plus, and it was just something that we're not, we have to do what?
Sure, right.
Because as being a sovereign nation, and when you're operating here within, within the confines of on your trust property and things like that, well, now you're going out. And so those were difficult times for us, because it's like, it's very personal information, and but we realized this is something that has to be done, especially from a commercial perspective. And so now that we have licenses in Pennsylvania, Las Vegas, individual licenses in Las Vegas, Pennsylvania, because we own the Bethlehem's. Used to be the Sands Casino there, and now it's the Wind Creek Bethlehem. We have Chicago, as you pointed out.
When will that be finished?
Next year, I believe it is. I apologize, I don't know the direct answer, but we're pretty good about hitting and being and actually just getting something up, just because of the fact of the financing and such. But we're proud of the opportunities that we have been able to just to create steady, diversified businesses. That of course, and all that money comes back to Alabama, which people, that's what many people don't understand. It's, we took a brand made in Alabama, Wind Creek Hospitality, and have taken it, nationwide, but also, as you pointed out, worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah. Go back to that Nevada thing, because to me that's also something to be proud of, that partnership with another tribal group. And who is that?
It was the Washoe tribe.
Okay.
And so what we've, we're proud to say that we've been recognized in Indian country and things like that of successful business leaders.
Right.
Successful individuals who, a tribal nation that has managed their own, as I pointed out, not under any management agreement, that have been open, able to have 3 successful facilities with here in the state of Alabama. And then, like I pointed out, the other
Where's
one's
the third
outside
one
of
I know of? Are you speaking of?
You have
also?
Atmore,
Okay,
and then Wetumpka, and then Montgomery.
And Montgomery.
Yep,
Okay.
there's one in Montgomery.
I'm always thinking, when I see that one, I'm thinking that's the Wetumpka,
Nope,
but
yeah,
it's one in each.
Yeah, it's
okay.
the one in Montgomery is just a smaller 5-story boutique.
Okay.
It's like a jazz themed kind of place. And so, yeah, it's a great location.
Yeah, so I think that's a good thing to see, that relationship with another tribal group in Nevada and making that happen, because you're sewing into their community too.
Yeah, and whenever we can partner or help or do something together, we try our best. We have one of the things that we're proud of is just the other businesses that we have. When we're talking about those, we created a fund, the Dorados Fund, to build 6 hotels. And we did that fund together with other tribes.
Oh, okay.
And so we raised, I think we were a little under $100 million. And so we we built together 3 facilities, 3 hotels at Disney, at the back gates of Disney.
Disney World? Okay.
Yeah. We have downtown Huntsville, the AC Hotel there. We have one that's I believe it's going to be in Charlotte. And then I cannot recall off the top of my head what the other location is. But
and those are standalone hotels as compared to no casino?
Yep. Standalone hotels, the hospitality industry. Those are the partnerships that we have. But then we own several other hotels in Florida, here in the state of Alabama, and such.
Well, I tell you, Robbie, we could talk forever, because this is just an incredible story, and I've seen, from the early days and what it has become now, and and how the nation has taken care of their people. That's the other thing I've been proud. Talk about some of those other enterprises here. As we were looking at, you've got several other businesses that are part of the, is it under PCI, or what is the name of the company that you have the other businesses when you talk about, I was trying to find on my list here, like Media Fusion, Muskogee Technology.
Yeah, we have, so under Creek Indian Enterprises, we have PCI Federal Services. And so one of the things that we've been trying to do is grow within the contracting business. Working with either, federal government for various grants and contracts, and just anybody really when it comes to those opportunities, but it's mostly federal contracts. So we have Media Fusion, which is a marketing, web design. They work a lot with NASA, with Huntsville, Space Rockets, and they designed a lot of their commercials and such. It's a great opportunity for us.
Sure.
We have IT, we have manufacturing companies, we have aviation companies, and these are all 8A companies that the tribe has purchased that have been very successful. It was another one of those things that we said, okay, here's an area that we need to start working with. There's an area here that we're allowed, we're a part of. We should be a part of it, and see what we can do to be successful at it. And I think we've done a great job.
That sounds like you really have.
Yeah, and those are just under the Federal Services branch of it.
Right.
But then we have other, say, like I pointed out, the hotels, those are under Creek Indian Enterprises. So always realize that anything non-gaming is under Creek Indian Enterprises, and then everything gaming is under PCI Gaming.
Okay. We never have enough time, but tell us, where do you see the enterprise going in the next 5 to 10 years? What do you see?
I think it's always exciting. We're trying to do right now, trying to figure out, what is that next 10-year plan. We're hopefully going to be, sitting down together at the council and working with management to say, where do we go from here? I think, as you pointed out, Chicago, that opportunity there. I think we'll have some other, a couple other opportunities that I'm not allowed to speak to at the moment that we've been working on. I think that we'll still continue to, do what we can to diversify and bring that, if we do develop outside of the state of Alabama, to bring that back to Alabama. But we're always looking for the opportunities for growth here, home. and here within the state. And I don't know what that looks like. We've been dealing with, working with gaming here in the state of Alabama for a number of years. The possibility of compact negotiations, the possibility of, how can we work together with the state to say, this is what we bring to the table. I think that when it comes to just the community itself, is we do have a lot more people moving home, and so we've built various housing subdivisions and such. I think we'll continue to do that. I think we have some great educational opportunities, partnerships with some colleges that we're proud of. But we're just happy to know that we've been able to. I had to go to school on student loans and such and things like that. Now, we provide scholarships to anybody who pretty much wants to go to school has an opportunity, and as long as we can continue to offer jobs. And I think that right now, if we say, if you want a job, we have a job. We have a job for you. And I think that's happening throughout the state anyway, which is great. But I think it's one of those things that we've always tried to do.
Well, Vice Chairman Robbie McGee, we thank you for coming and sharing today and talking about what I consider an incredible success story, and very proud of all of you and some of the things that I've heard of. And I haven't heard of everything. And so it's truly a great story, and we wish you all continued success.
I appreciate it. And I want to point out, too, you were talking about we met, it was when you came for the powwow, so we'll celebrate this year the 50th.
Yes.
50th anniversary powwow.
We're coming.
So,
we've already made plans.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
About the history of the Poarch Band of Creek Indians, check out the documentary, The Forgotten Creeks. Now, you can stream it on APT, that's Alabama Public Television's website, and the PBS video app. The documentary tells their story of how the tribe has evolved from being an impoverished, isolated community to the independent, self-sufficient Indian nation that it is today. Also, you can go to the tribe's website. Just Google Poarch Creek Indians. Well, please join us next time for Perspectives as we discuss those important issues and seek solutions. If you have any ideas of topics that you'd like for us to address, just drop us a line here to perspectives@fox10tv.com. I'm Eric Reynolds. Have a great week.